screen test. Tom Wopat, John Schneider. Take one.
I don't like this. Not a smidgen.
Well, all we're doing is looking around.
So I heard about these auditions for Dukes. My agent said, well, you know, we thought you were going to be able to go in, but you're not going to be able to go in because they're looking for people from Georgia who are between 24 and 30 years old. And at that time, I'm from New York, and I was 18 years old. So I said, well, let's lie. Let's act.
I came to New York in 1977 from Wisconsin. I got an agent at the end of the year. I was here actually a short time and was fairly lucky, and did some work off Broadway, and I was always auditioning, you know, as things came along. And in October of '78, I went in for an audition of Dukes of Hazzard.
I walked in to CBS. There were 30 people sitting around. I stood up and I delivered my lines, and there was complete silence after I finished my scene. Okay, that's it. I lost the thing. They don't get me. They don't like me. I don't have blonde hair. I'm not like the curvaceous Dolly Parton. I am out of here. And then all of a sudden, this one man stands up, who I later realized was met and found out that he was the president of the network. And he started clapping.
Then I got the word that I was going to come out to California and screen test, and supposed to come in on a Thursday, screen test on Friday, and then I'd know late Friday afternoon and be back at home on Saturday. But it took 5.5 weeks. It was 5.5 weeks of going to the network and rehearsing with Guy Waldron, who's great guy, the creator of Dukes, trying to get the right grouping together, and what an amazing experience.
And I went in to read for Dukes, and actually read for John's part originally, for Beau. But they asked me, I got a call later in the afternoon after I'd done the reading on Wednesday saying, you want to fly to LA and read for this? And, you know, I'm a kid, I didn't know any better. Sure, why not? And so I flew out there on Wednesday night. I met with John Thursday, and we worked on the stuff a little bit, and we did the screen test on Friday. Got the part.
I wanted to get the feel of this southern guy, so I borrowed the pickup truck. I went out and I got a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon, and I had a great old worn-out Budman T-shirt. I told him I was from Snailville, which I had gotten wrong. It's Snellville. I didn't even know that, but neither did they. And told him I was 24 from Snailville, Georgia, and wondered what they were looking for. And read the thing, did okay, but there was apparently something they saw in that kind of strange redneck guy that didn't even leave his beer in the truck that they were very interested in. And come to find out many years later, it was told to me that when Phil Mandelker saw that, he said, that's the guy.
I got the part. I got the crazy part. I got the Daisy Duke part. They called and they said, that is it. They want you. And they sent me to Georgia immediately.
Ain't that pretty, hanging there like that?
We had wonderful directors. And it was interesting. Most of our directors were the old-timers. The guys who had worked all the funny shows and worked all the heavy action shows, and they loved coming in and doing a Dukes because it was kind of like going back for them in the early days when they were doing the high action stuff. They were getting to do in miniature what they had made a career doing.
We were allowed to take chances, to do new things on television, to shoot the stunts and the action as if it were a feature film. We had 2 camera crews going at all time.
We then realized that we were going to have a production system like they'd never had before. And so we were the first television show to have a full-time second unit. That is to say, they were doing stunts 5 days a week. The first thing that happened was God smiled on us and gave us Paul Baxley. who was one of the great stunt gaffers. And the Baxley family had been in the stunt business for a very long time. When we wrote this out, Warner Brothers was wise enough to see and ask the network, said, we're going to have more budget here because we've got a lot of stunts. We put major stunts, 3 major stunts in 1 hour. That had never been done.
Our production crew had their own way of doing things. By and large, it was confrontational, but not in a vicious way. It was just that was the dynamic of how we did things. They wanted to do things a certain way, and the actors would try and get as much reality or as much integrity into the show as we could. And so that was kind of how it worked.
I never saw among our actors one quarrel in 7 years. If they had differences, they settled them among themselves. You had differences with the studio, fight with the director, fight with writers, of course. Those are the people you fight with. Our actors respected each other so much, we never once saw that. Well, when you put all that together, and I don't mean all with sweetness and light, I mean it was a brutal schedule with difficult shooting. But at the end of the day, everybody's smiling, having a drink, having a cigar, and we wrap and we go the next day. And that's the kind of attitude you have to have for that show to work. And that's what we had. If we hadn't had that, our heroes behind the scene, we wouldn't have had Dukes of Hazzard more than 2 years. You couldn't have survived it. They not only survived, they thrived on it. They made us better.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming.
If I could say that I had defining moments of when we were a smash, it was when we started getting fan mail about the second or third week, and that all of the fan mail was saying the exact opposite of what the critics had said.
I knew that something really special was about to happen. And it was great. But can I say, oh, I knew that it was going to be a hit and it was going to last forever and we're going to be friends for life? No. I was 18. What did I know? When's lunch?
We weren't that far into it, and we were trying to get something for Daisy to wear. And Kathy Bach said, I'm going to fix these shorts the way I want to. And so she cut out the pair of shorts, and she made those first Daisy Dukes. And somebody said, Kathy's cut the things off, and she's going to... I said, okay. I was standing on the set, and Kathy walked by, and I was talking with somebody else. She comes by, she's got these shorts on, she's got the high heels on, she's wearing pantyhose, and she looked like $1 million bucks, and she walked by, and I looked at her, and I said, surely we've got a hit. And I remember his reaction was, I think we do. And that's all the farther we'd gone. But those moments told us, and the mail told us, that yes, we were hitting them. Our scripts were saying exactly what the people wanted to hear.
Yeah, that should hold him.
I'm sorry we had to do this, Daisy.
So 2 episodes in, I'm having a great time. I'm filming, everything's great. I'm getting along with the cast. I meet Tom Wopat, who is a doll and really an incredible artist, singing every day, playing guitar every day. John's playing, everybody's having a ball. We're just having so much fun. And then all of a sudden, in troops 20 different blonde-haired girls. And the word was, why in the heck did this girl get cast? She is not going to be a popular. She is not Farrah Fawcett. She is not Cheryl Ladd. She is not Dolly Parton. She is not a blonde. She's not. Get rid of her. I had asked Guy Wilder, and I said, how did all that happen? The network liked me, and you like me, but now they're making me have like one line in the show, and what happened? He said, well, you know, they don't believe in you the way I do.
I think there were second thoughts at the network all the time for the first year. There were second thoughts about the show, about what are we doing, and then all of a sudden, Kathy and Tom and John are appearing on every publication, and the letters are coming in, and nothing will shut up a network executive like audience response that are in love with your character. And so I didn't hear anything after that.
Now don't you two run away.
You didn't overplay it much, did you? Didn't it? I got it. Come on. Okay. See if we can lift up out of this.
Oh, the year that we left. Well, that was kind of precipitated by a bunch of different events. We felt we were not getting treated nicely, and also we thought it was a time artistically where we could make some demands. And as a result, we ended up handing the show to a couple of other guys for 16 shows.
I knew that when they left, we were going to be in trouble. We were going to have a big sag. Dukes was not a show in which you could lose any one of Bo, Luke, or Daisy. You just can't do that. You would be cutting the heart out of the show, and when you repair it, you better repair it with something good. And my feeling was when and nobody asked, what do you think? Other than when you're going to replace these guys, don't replace them with lookalikes. Go some other way. Get 2 more guys. Get 2 other cousins, whatever you can. But if you're going to try to imitate them, you can't imitate these 2 guys. They're in the public's heart and mind by this time. If you're a Dukes fan, that's it. That's the family. Who do you replace members of your family with? And so that was, I felt, was not going to work.
In the episode where we came back, we had one scene with all 4 of us, and then boom, they were gone. It was sweet.
Well, you take care of that.
Y'all take care of yourself.
We will of you, Will. All right. Keys at General Lee. Dang, this is kind of like changing to the guard at Buckingham Palace. There you go. There you go, buddy. Well, all right, man. You take care of yourself. Stay out of trouble. Thanks for holding down the fort, all right? Keep between the ditches, all right? Well, wait a minute. All right, buddy. All right. See you.
Vance, the door's open.
Kind of in practice, no? Yeah. Don't be strangers, you 2.
All right, he's from here. If Rosco ever chase you up our way, you stop by and say hey, all right?
You got it. All right. What a pair.
The 2 guys who came in, they tried very hard, and they really, but that was a no-win for them. It just wasn't going to happen.
I kind of felt for the other guys, just in the sense that they made them watch episodes of us to try and capture our camaraderie and that kind of thing, which is like, yeah, what a way to go about things.
And so I was very happy when the boys came back. And when the boys came back, the ratings were up in a week. I mean, it was just that simple.
And in the final result, in the final analysis, it should have been handled differently. We were young. We got some advice that wasn't exactly accurate. And it probably should never have come to that point. What they did was, early on, of course, they knew they were going to be hooked into the country music scene. I mean, well, first of all, Waylon was in every show as the Balladeer. And after the first season and a half, they shot him playing the guitar at the beginning of the show, so that intro changed. So what they did was they set up a little mechanism in which, towards the end of the show, it wasn't necessarily connected at all to the story. Sometimes they were. But a lot of times they would, a country music star would get caught in Hogg's speed trap. So they'd have to play a show at the Boar's Nest as their penance, as their sentence.
When Loretta Lynn came in, she had a terrible sore throat. It was the kind of sore throat that if an actor had it, you wouldn't see him for 2 days. And But she's in town. She's going to do a concert with this sore throat, and she's going to be on Dukes of Hazzard. And so she comes in and she sings. And I just remember seeing that that's a typical coal miner's daughter. I've come to work, and if I drop in my tracks, that's what I'm here to do.
Roy Orbison sang Pretty Woman to me. I'll never forget that. He just looked at me through those big old glasses of his, and he sang that song to me. And he was so charming. He was my friend till the day he died, and now I'm still friends with Barbara Orbison, his widow. He was just an amazing, fun, crazy person. Who's that? Johnny Paycheck. Remember him? Johnny Paycheck was on our show. And remember he had that song, Take This Job and Shove It? He got paid in cash. He was so funny. He got paid in cash and wanted it all in $100 bills and got out of there.
We had a blast. That was one of the high points, was working with the different country western stars.
The stunts on Dukes were in the hands of some very, very good people. And stunts always look terribly dangerous. The ideal stunt is to look dangerous and not be.
Of course, John did a lot of the driving stuff. We like to say we didn't do any of the jumps and the crashes, but we did get air now and then, and we did wreck a few cars, especially him. I was a better driver. I'm kidding.
We had fight scenes. Every show had a fight scene. And we were very fortunate in that both Bo and Luke, these actors, could handle themselves. We could shoot the fight scenes up close because these guys were both very good. And they learned their craft under Baxley's tutelage, and they learned how to do all of the fights.
The stunt thing was always something I was comfortable with, and also that both of us, John and I, would get very excited about. It was, you know, I tell people when we first started working on the show, it's like playing cowboys and Indians and getting paid a lot of money to do it. It was great.
And this was the thing. If I would write a stunt and I would give it to Baxley to do, I knew two things were going to happen. One, he'd make it twice as good as what I thought of. He'd come up with something else I hadn't thought of, and when I saw it on film, it was going to work the first time. And that's a professional.
The stunt guys that we worked with primarily were the Baxley boys. Paul Baxley was our coordinator, and Gary, his nephew, doubled me in a lot of the stuff, and Craig, his son, doubled John. So we got to know them very well, and it was a really nice relationship, and especially in this show, where there was a separate stunt unit that shot almost as much footage as the primary unit, you know. So we'd get pretty excited about it. We had a lot of fun.
The stunts were always going to be a part of the show. We're going to be at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whenever we are. All of our violence is going to be on machinery. We're going to tear up cars every show. We're going to tear them up. And we average totaling 5 cars a show and 1 General Lee. That's 1 General Lee every episode. Every time you saw General Lee leave the ground, that car was totaled. The car that came down the other side, that's another car.
But sure as I'm sitting here, boss is gonna take this farm if you don't fight that catfish fella, Luke.
Right now, just hold it, you two.
The interesting thing about Dukes is if we run into any of the other actors, it's great. But also, by the same token, if we run into any of the stunt people, or if we run into any of the grips, the gaffer, if we run into anybody that worked on Dukes, there's a family feeling there that exists to this day, some 20-something years later.
Everybody was a star on our show. Everybody was recognized for what they did, and everybody did their very best job. We all sort of started in the business together.
When they got ready to leave, I remember sitting down with them and I said, you're going to be on location and you're going to have some stuff thrown at you, and you're going to be confused, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to rely on each other. And look to Denver. I remember saying, look to Denver. You got a question, go to him. And they did. And as a result, they bonded. And Denver kind of looked after them. And I don't mean in any cliche way. He just looked after them. If they had a question, they would talk to each other. And so that family kind of thing between those three was held beautifully.
That ain't the way you brought us up.
No, it ain't. You said that the Dukes should never turn their back on somebody who needed help fighting a system.
Especially J.D. Hogg's system.
I said that.
You said that.
Sir, you did.
Well, all right. You go ahead and help Mr. Yarborough, but be careful, do you hear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Whether dysfunctional families, good families, that they all stay in touch. And you said not just the 3 stars stay in touch. And that's what was different about Dukes of Hazzard.
In our 7 years shooting Dukes, we kept the same crews, and we kept the same stuntmen going. And as one of the cameramen came up and told me at the final show, he says, "You've put a lot of kids through college. He says, you put 4 of mine through." And so this, of course, made us feel very good because it was a big family kind of thing. Once you got on Dukes, you tried to stay on there, not just to stay employed, but there was that family feeling. You hear other shows say this. In this one, we weren't making it up. It really was. It was family.
Fortunately for all of us, for John and Kathy and I, Denver and Jim Best and Sorrell, Booke, and these guys were all tremendous and tremendously experienced and very generous with their time. And if you asked them something, they would tell you what they thought. And they also didn't. It wasn't like they came on strong either in their advice. They all seemed to have a tactful way of dealing with our inexperience, which was really fortunate for us.
What I learned from Tom Wopat is that you can, in fact, not only follow your dream, your life's dream, but live it for however long he's been around. Tom has been doing musical theater and doing it exceptionally well, I think, all of his life.
Tom is he is just a freak with knowledge and trivia, and it's daunting to be around that.
Catherine Bach, I think the thing that I learned most from Catherine is that it's okay to be joyful in a public place.
John is like my brother, and so to see Hollywood through a young man's eyes, which is what I felt like I was doing, was so interesting because every woman in the world was throwing themselves at John Schneider.
I think the fondest memories I have are of the days when we would have big scenes with everybody in the cast. And because the cast had such a genuine love for each other. And we bonded together in a way that very few casts did.
I learned from Denver Pyle that it's extremely important to pay attention to business. Great man, great actor, but his questions to me were always, are you happy? Are you saving any money?
Jimmy Best was one of the premier acting teachers and acting coaches in Hollywood.
From Jimmy Best, I learned that it is actually possible for an actor, not this one yet, to be serious when he asked the question of the director, which eye would you like the tear to come out of? Jimmy Best is that good.
Sonny Shroyer. He is the original actor. Like if his foot's supposed to hurt, he'll put rocks in his boot. He'll do anything to get the real feeling. He is the real thing. And he is an acting lesson at all times, and we always appreciated that about him. Of course, he's very funny, too.
I think the one lesson that anyone who knew Sorrell Booke would come away from him with is diversity. Sorrell was many, many things. Before he was Boss Hogg, I don't think there was any of Boss Hogg in Sorrell.
You know, Jimmy Best, Denver Pyle, and Sorrell Booke were recognized, highly respected in Hollywood as great, not good, but great character actors.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
It's hard to pin down why exactly it was as successful, and why it continues to be.
The longevity of the show obviously was because fans keep you on the air. It had hit a very responsive chord on a lot of different levels. First, the kids liked it. Kids in high school liked it. Secondly, you could see some of the best stunts, and people like to watch stunts.
Drive like this?
Well, no. Usually it's more radical than that.
I think partly because it was one of a kind. I mean, there were other car shows at the time, but none of them with the same recipe. Southern, a little borderline tie to NASCAR, country music, family values.
Part of it also was we did stay loyal to the basic premise, and people like to see that. I think those things contributed to our longevity.
Back then, when a hit was a hit, it was, you know, you'd get 40–50% of the viewing population watching shows. And that's it's just become a kind of a part of pop culture. So it's really hard to pin down why, but, you know, that's the fact of the matter.
It sure was nice you guys stopped by in Hazzard again.
No offense, but we were just passing through.